Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and today I'm doing another one of these videos just because the last one I ended up getting like 5 likes on it, and I was really excited about that. So I decided, you know what, I might as well go ahead and make just a couple more. So, especially because I work all day today, so I wasn't able to put out like a crazy, like super edited video, or like a super lengthy video because I gotta leave for work here soon and stuff like that. And I just woke up and decided, or I saw a couple things on Twitter about, Colin Cowherd putting out his top 10 players for the bubble, and I'm just extremely interested as to what he has to say. Just like the last video, he definitely had said some things that were completely crazy. Like, I agreed with the whole LeBron situation, but at the same time, he's been adjusting his whole life, so it wasn't really a valid argument. All this other stuff, and I also woke up to Jim Boylan being fired today, which was probably the best news I've heard in a long time. So I'm in a pretty good mood. So I figured I'd go ahead and make one of these videos here for you guys. This is going to be Colin Cowherd's top 10 players in the bubble. So if we're talking primarily since the bubble has started, to be completely honest, you have to go, Giannis has to be in the top 3. I'd say James Harden probably has to be in the top 3. Damian Lillard for sure has to be up there. Devin Booker has to be up there. Luka has played really well. I'm trying to think. Here's the thing, is like, LeBron hasn't been playing super well since the restart. Now, I do still believe that he's a top 10 player in the bubble, but I don't think he's as high as he was during the regular season. Just for the premier fact that he was putting up some ridiculous numbers right before the bubble, and now, who knows? It may change once the playoffs start, which would be very good for him, but we won't know, obviously, until it all kicks in. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm not 100% sure if I will agree with all of his. I probably won't, but you know what? We might as well go ahead and take a look.
NBA is back. I thought I'd say, who are the 10 best players right now in the bubble? Now, TJ Warren's scoring well. I don't consider him going forward a top 10 player in the bubble, but my 10 favorite players in the bubble, starting with number 10. Chris Paul, for years, people said was the most overrated player in the league. He's now officially the most underrated player in the NBA. The Thunder were the biggest surprise in the league. He is so old school, it hurts. The mid-range angle jumper, feisty, yells at players and teammates. He is total old school. But he's one of 3 players to average 20 points and 7 assists in the bubble and shoot over 50% from the field. I think you could make an argument he's a top 4, top 5 MVP candidate.
MVP? No way. Okay, buddy. Okay, I'm not necessarily too terribly mad that he has Chris Paul in the top 10, but I truthfully don't think he deserves it. Jokic should probably be up there. Michael Porter Jr. should be up there. If we're talking about strictly from the bubble, Michael Porter Jr. should probably be up there. Embiid should probably be up there, because they're all having really good seasons, or really good restarts, I guess, better than Chris Paul. I can't believe he even said that Chris Paul was a top 5 MVP candidate. That's actually wild to me. I don't think Chris Paul is anywhere close to the top 5 for MVP, but Colin, you do your thing, man.
Oh, he and Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan don't win more. This was the best team in the league in the last 3 weeks. Chris Paul has had an unbelievable season, and he's back at it in the bubble. Jason Tatum, I think, is going to be literally a top 10 player, top 7 player by next year. He had a lousy game in the bubble against Milwaukee. Boston does not match up well with Milwaukee. They look too small. But he scored 30-plus in 10 of his last 16 games. He also had a monster game against Portland, led them to a win. And I think he's one of the few players in the league. He can put it on the deck. He can create his own shot. He can hit a three. He can finish at the rim. He's clever. Number 9, Jason Tatum.
I agree with Colin when he says that Tatum is better than Chris Paul. 100% I do. But I am not sure if I would put Tatum in the top 10 either. If we're talking strictly about the bubble, which I think he is because it says top 10 players in the NBA bubble. So I think that what we're talking about is straight from the bubble. If we're talking about straight from the bubble, I genuinely think that Tatum is probably not a top 10 player either. I mean, there is just so many people so many players that have, taken that next step once we hit the bubble that it makes it really hard to be a top 10 player in the bubble with so much talent around. Like I had said, some of these lower end guys I'm kind of getting worried about because, like, obviously Michael Porter Jr. is not going to be like a top 5 player in the bubble right now, or I don't think Devin Booker would be like a top 10 or like a top 5 player. But he definitely deserves to be up there. Damian Lillard obviously deserves to be up there. So I'm getting kind of nervous that those players aren't there right now, because if they're not up there, then we might have an issue.
Luka Doncic, only player
Luka,
averaging a triple.
I said Luka at the beginning.
The bubble. Here's Dallas's problem.
Averaging a triple-double.
The NBA has always been a baby step league. They just don't know how to finish off games. They
I
outplayed
agree.
Houston for all but 3 minutes and lost. They don't know how to win yet.
I agree.
They're one of 4
Yeah, they can't
winless
finish-
teams
they
in the
can't close
bubble,
that
and
games.
they're between Porzingis and Luka, Trey Burke. They got all sorts of offense. But this league is about figuring how, with 4 minutes left, like how we close it out. We're down 4, we're up 4. How do we close it out? They haven't figured out how to do it. But
Right.
Luka, is remarkable.
He is. He's
Russell
amazing.
Westbrook, I'm a critic of him.
Ooh.
Not taking a lot of threes. 31 points in both bubble games. I thought he's been very good defensively. Listen, he can unravel. He can get unhinged. He's erratic. This has been great. He's played under control. He's played defense. Listen, he's not a good long-range shooter, and that's problematic because that's sort of what the league is now. But I think this has been the best Westbrook. A player...
Okay, so if we're talking about strictly from the bubble, Westbrook has had a hard time staying healthy, which definitely has hurt him. But I'm not necessarily mad at the pick. I do think that Luka's probably better, especially in the bubble, than Westbrook. But I could probably be okay with that, with him being in the top 10. But I'd say I'd take Luka over
I've
him for
always
sure.
thought better, slightly, Damian Lillard. One
Wow,
or
at
two
number
players averaging
6?
25 and 10. He has the most assists in the bubble, the most points in the bubble. He is Westbrook, but a dead-eye long-range shooter. If you told me there's one guy in the bubble, one shot to win, that's it. He's the guy.
Yeah.
His range, he and Steph Curry are the only players in the league. Unlimited range. Shoot it when you get past half court. I think he's
agree.
so good in crucial spots.
Yeah.
Nerves of steel. And I think he's a better player than Westbrook. I don't know if he's the athlete. He's not that far behind. But I think Damian Lillard is the go-to shooter in this bubble.
So I agree with that statement. I agree that Damian Lillard is basically he's got unlimited range. Like, that dude can literally pull from anywhere. I think last night against the Nets, he pulled one from literally like half court and drained it. So I completely agree with that statement 100%. I feel like he should be a lot higher. So, and we've still got players like Harden, Kawhi, LeBron, and I feel like either he's not going to put LeBron in the top 10, or he's going to put LeBron extremely high for the bubble. And I don't know if I'm going to agree with that at all. But I think that Dame should definitely be top 3. But but we'll watch and see what he has to say.
Anthony Davis, most free throw attempts. I mean, listen, you watched last night. You can't stop him. Now, I don't love what I see late in games. He doesn't have a lot of dog in him. Damian Lillard's got dog in him, but he scored 90 points in the bubble. That's the most by any player. He really is. If he could hit a three-point shot consistently, you can't really defend it. I mean, you can't. He's a harder guard than LeBron if he hits a three. You can't defend it. I just don't trust him late. James Harden, I do trust late.
Okay, James Harden at 4.
Second highest scoring average in the bubble. Most steals by any player in the bubble.
Yeah, maybe.
Averaging the most 17
That's probably right where he
attempts per
belongs.
game. Here's the thing about James Harden. His style's very ball-centric. 4 months off is the best thing that happened to James Harden. He looks fresh. That's why he's playing defense. He's fresh. I mean, he's got energy. I mean, he's been very good. So, James Harden is unbelievable.
I agree with that. I mean, James Harden right at 4 is probably exactly where he belongs. Excuse me. I think that Damian Lillard probably, just for bubble purposes only, that's all we're talking about here. Bubble purposes only, I think Dame is probably a little bit better than Harden right now. Harden is putting up crazy numbers still. He's still averaging some crazy stats. But at the same time, I think Damian Lillard is he's killing the game right now. So he's been absolutely phenomenal ever since him and PG kind of got into it, and then after that just took off. So I don't know. I mean, I agree with James Harden at 4, but I don't know who he's going to put in front of him.
But I put Kawhi over him because I think Kawhi is, first or second best.
I'm going to take a look at the stats after this too, because I don't know.
Averaging 25 points a game, under 30 minutes.
It's a little sketch. I don't know how I feel about it. He's the
ultimate team guy. He's got the highest plus-minus in the bubble.
That's a good stat.
You can say what you want about load management. When he's on the floor, his intensity and his efficiency are scary, are like historically good. Got to give it to Giannis because he's more of an offensive threat.
I mean, that makes sense.
Most rebounds of any player in the bubble. Probably the best defensive player of any player in the bubble. 35 and 15 and 5 average in the bubble. He's just really good. And he's really developed into... There's a lot of things. Leadership.
I mean, that's all you really have to say. He's really good. I mean, truly. It's Giannis, man. I mean, Giannis is just... He's a freak. He's literally he's called the Greek Freak. So, I mean, yeah. I'm really surprised he's not number 1, especially if we're talking about just the bubble. So I'm assuming that means he's got LeBron at 1? LeBron?
Likability. He's. Listen. Go ask Boston. Boston can't defend it. Boston plays well against everybody in the East. Not Giannis. They just don't have any answer for him. That's why Chris Middleton plays so well. They double Giannis, and Middleton goes off against the Celtics. LeBron. What do you want me to say? Best leader in the bubble, smartest player in the bubble, most experience in the bubble, only guy averaging 19-9, 7 assists, a steal, and a block in the bubble. And he also he controls the tempo in the bubble. What he's done, what LeBron's really done, it's really smart. He really lets the game come to him in the first 2 to 3 quarters, unless he has to take over because the Lakers are a mess. He really in the first quarter and a half really is about letting the game come to him, has a surge late in the first half, takes over the fourth quarter. That's what smart veteran players do. He remains the best player in the bubble. Okay,
so I'm going to pause it on this screen just so that way I can kind of see and make my adjustments. The fact that Devin Booker wasn't on there is absolutely mind-blowing to me. Devin Booker, no offense to anyone that's a big fan or whatever, I think Devin Booker's better than Chris Paul and Tatum. I genuinely do, especially in the bubble. Oh my God, he's way better. Way better. It's not even close. Luka, I agree with. Westbrook, or I feel like Luka should be 1 up. I feel like he should be in the 7th spot. Westbrook should be in the 8th spot. Dame should be top 3. No offense to Kawhi or LeBron, but he's in the bubble standpoint. Dame's been way better than both of them. Davis, I'm really surprised he put Davis up there. Davis hasn't really, so he played really good in one of the games. I don't remember what game it was, but other than that, he really hasn't been playing all that well. He's been just very, very average. James Harden's obviously been killing it, like literally every time he steps on the floor. Kawhi, I mean, he's barely played. To be completely honest with you, he's like barely even played, and when he hasn't even really been trying. So how do we know if he's like one of the best? Like whenever you watch him, you can definitely tell that he's not trying. LeBron, I'm hoping in the postseason picks it up a little. But I'm no offense, but for right now, the best player in the bubble, it's not LeBron. It's not LeBron. I'd still give LeBron somewhere here in the top 10. I genuinely would. But if we're talking about since the restart, I'd have to go. My number one player would have to be Giannis. Number two, maybe Damian Lillard. 3, Harden. 4, probably LeBron. 5, probably Devin Booker. 6, Luka. 7, Westbrook. Trying to think. 8 would probably have to go Embiid. Or no, probably Michael Porter Jr. at 8. 9, probably Embiid. And then 10, Tatum. Until Kawhi and Anthony Davis start getting everything figured out and they start deciding to like actually want to play basketball, I can't really put them in the top 10. So let's take a look at their stats just super quick. Take a look here. So we'll start with Kawhi. So per game in this past year, let's see. So from here down, let's see, points. Yeah, okay. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally sleeping on Kawhi Leonard. Maybe I'm totally sleeping on Kawhi Leonard. Okay. Yeah, he's putting up some good numbers. Okay, that's my bad. And he probably deserves where he's at. I must have totally been just completely sleeping on him. But now let's look here. I mean, my God. He's like, look at this. So from here down, 29, 30, 21, 45, 22, 51, 61, 42. And even on these big games that he's got, you ready? Like, look, right here, 30 and 16. 30 and 16. 45 and 12 with 3 steals. 51 and 7. 61 and 8. 42 and 12. I mean, you really can't get any better than that. Like that. Those are some super crazy numbers. I mean, now obviously Giannis is going to have some crazy numbers as well, which is obviously going to be a given because, I mean, it's Giannis, right? So 36 and 15, 36 and 18, 33 and 12, 34 and 13. This one he only had 12, but that's because they didn't really play him. So, I mean, you have to kind of give it to Giannis just because he's a bigger guy doing it all. So Giannis obviously has to be the best, but, I mean, like, they're leaving out Devin Booker, who's, like, putting up these ridiculous numbers, especially for, like, just the bubble numbers. I mean, like, from here down, so 27, 30, 35, 20, 35, 35, 35, 27. And he's been racking up rebounds and assists too. I mean, it's not like he's just playing an average game. So, I mean, I might have rated him a little bit too high. He might not deserve to be top 3 or top 5. But he definitely deserves to be in the top 10. I mean, because, like, let's look at LeBron real quick. Let's just look at LeBron real quick. Let's just take a look. Just take a look. So from here down, so 16, 20, 22, 19, 31, 29, 17. He's putting up pretty much the same numbers as Booker. I mean, in some aspects even a little less. Now, is he getting as many minutes as Booker? I don't know. But more or less, he's not having nearly as good of a season as or like a restart as Booker. Let's look at his teammate. Okay, let's look at his teammate real quick. So if you go ahead and take a look here, 2019. I hate how that shakes. That really is irritating me. So from the restart, 34, 14 on 35 minutes played as a big man. 42, 9, 17, 8. Now, I'll give it, 8 points in 35 minutes as the second best player on the team. That's not top 10. And it's 2 nights in a row. Because then not necessarily in a row, because he had a 17-point game. But then a 9-point game. Like, he had a 9-point game, and then a decent game, and then an 8-point game. You can't have that when you're the second best player. You can't. You're playing, especially in this game, 35 minutes against Indiana. Who's going to stop you on Indiana? You're Anthony Davis. You should be dropping like at least 25 on Indiana. Easy. I mean, since the restart, Anthony Davis really hasn't been that tremendous. He's been good. He's been decent. But he's not number 5 in the league. We'll take a look at Kawhi too. Or wait, I think I already did actually. I think I did. I think I looked at this. Yeah, because then I said that, yeah, he deserves some more credit. I'm going to take a look real quick and see if there's anyone that I was missing. Maybe Tatum. Maybe we could take a look at Tatum. And see if there's something that I'm missing out on as to why he was in the top 10. But, I mean, let's see, from the restart is here. He had 5 points game 1. 34, 23, 19, 18, 29, 29. So yeah, he's played all right. He's played all right. I'll give it to him. But I mean, when you look at people like Michael Porter Jr. and I mean, let's take a look since the restart. 11, 37, 30, 27, 23, 15, and 11. So these last two he fell off, but he was also playing the Lakers and the Clippers. So, I mean, this one he had 37 and 12. This was 30 and 15, 27 and 12, 23 and 11. I mean, he's really been killing it. So, alrighty. So I know this video has been extremely long, so I'm very sorry about that, you guys. But I was just trying to see, maybe there was some stuff that I was missing out on. I know after looking at the stats, I might change my numbers around just a little bit. Like LeBron is probably still in the top 5. Kawhi is definitely in the top 5. I just didn't realize how well he was playing. I'd still say Damian Lillard's a top 3 player. Still say James Harden's a top 5 player. But there are some people I would change. I would definitely put Devin Booker in there. I would definitely probably slide in at like the 10th spot just for bubble purposes. Probably Michael Porter Jr. Or maybe Embiid. I don't know. But that is going to wrap up the video, you guys. I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any other suggestions, please hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, you even in my comment section, whatever the case might be. If there's any videos that you guys want to see at all, please let me know, because I need some more content, especially with 2K being dead. pretty soon the Prelude's going to drop, so I'm definitely going to make some videos on that for 21. But other than that, make sure that you guys like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that way you guys know whenever I post. But other than that, this is King Center signing out. Peace.